Prophecy and Pain on stream in the winners bracket round 2, and then 2 rounds of losers bracket. So we will see Prophecy and Pain's games coming up very, very soon for you. So definitely stay tuned for that, because I'm looking forward to see Pain and Prophecy play. Probably the 2 teams I really want to see play here. There's Prophecy with a new lineup, favourites for this event, and Pain obviously the best in Spain. So we're going to see them 2 go up in their individual winners bracket games.
As I was going to say when we were talking about the American teams, I completely forgot to mention it. The one team I am most looking forward to seeing actually at LAN is going to be Nade Shot Optic Nation's team. Obviously, like we discussed, they actually went over to Leverage, but I'm really looking forward to seeing how Nade plays on LAN. I think that's going to be exciting. I'm a really big Nade Shot fan, if I'm honest. I tend to try and watch his streams as much as possible. I've met quite a lot of the EU players in his streams as well, and we've had some good chats. So I think CSTME, like you were there only a few days ago, we had a nice little discussion and whatnot. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to them playing at LAN. I think that's going to be good. And a load of people have said an Optic final would have been amazing. I don't really think that's going to happen, if I'm honest. But it'd be amazing if it did. But I'd feel really bad as a European.
You know what? While we've got this time, I keep meaning to do it, and we keep going off for it. You know what? Let's actually talk about the UK teams at this event. There's been some changes going on, and a lot of people want to talk about it. Let's start off with SK. Let's talk about Mac. Mac, obviously, this is going to be probably his first event with his actual proper team again since way back. Since EGL7, he wasn't with his team. He was actually with TCM at that point. Then he played at I-Series pickup for Tigerware. So now finally going back to SK, and you know what? He didn't have great placements. I think he was 4th at I-Series, 9th to 12th at EGL7. So Mac is definitely going to want to come at least top 3 in this event. And you know what? He has got the talent to do it, especially him and Toby. Black MVP at EGL7, and they've just picked up the legend that he's Vapes.
He's amazing, isn't he? He's truly an amazing player. Like, he just is. He just does stuff, and you just watch it, and you're like, how's he done that? It's just impossible. That should not be possible. But having said that, Black, after winning MVP at EGL7, he played so well. I'll literally, one of the best moments of me for EGL7, obviously it being my first lag, my first LAN run. I just read lag and said lag. My first LAN was actually watching Black. I was literally sat right next to him. I was doing some commentary, and EGL7 was very, very hyped up in terms of the teams communicating with each other and getting pumped like that. And it was when SK were playing Optic, and I think it was Black was sat right at the back corridor on Dome, and he was obviously trying to. His flag was vacant, and Optic were running in and running in and running in. Black was just sat right at the back of the map, and he was saying, "This is my house. This is my house, bro. You trying to come in my house?" And he kept killing him and killing him and killing him. And then finally, a player just jumped around the corner and completely took him off head glitch. He was like, "Okay, you can come in my house then." But it's just the way. I don't know why I found it so.
I believe that player was Momo.
Oh, was it 4K? Ah, right, okay.
I believe it was 4K.
It was absolutely hilarious.
I wasn't at that event, but I did watch her on the VOD.
It was, Black is just, he seems like such a cool guy as well, because he seems like the quiet guy, but yet when he gets hyped, he really, really hypes himself up, and he really gets into it. And we saw some amazing reactions there. It was unreal.
Somebody has said, can we pay attention to the gameplay? We would, but we're not actually in the game. Our producer is not there at the moment, so we're suffering some issues. We're trying to get in the game. This game was actually started without our knowledge, and we were still live.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we're just having a discussion about the top teams in Call of Duty for Europe at the moment at this event. So we will hopefully we're going to try and get back into the game as soon as possible, but we can't commentate as we can't see it.
Yes, we could commentate with a 20-second delay, but that just would be useless, and there'd be absolutely no point. And yes, that Blazing has just put an amazing little thing there in the chat. Feria versus SK reaction by Battle King. It just is second to none. That it has to be the best reaction I think anyone's ever seen. It was absolutely unreal. He just stood up and went absolutely bonkers. Really, really good reaction.
Yeah, so that's SK.
Good point. Thank you to Furluff. He wants to have a talking topic of Black Ops 2. That's quite an interesting option.
We could talk about Black Ops 2, especially with the information I told you earlier.
Secret.
But, before we get to Black Ops 2, because I've been waiting to talk about this for a little while now, and we've got all weekend to talk Black Ops 2, especially since it's a Modern Warfare 3 event. I don't want to dwell on it too much. But let's talk about Prophecy. You know what? That is definitely a team we can talk about, because it's such an interesting recent run of events for them in the last couple of months. That team obviously winning I-Series, then a bad placement at EGL7. You can't deny that as a bad placement. 9th to 12th, the same as TCM. And then obviously they went back into I-Series, and everyone thought they weren't going to do well. They ended up being in Germany for Black Ops 2, speak of the devil. And they actually did... they were at Gamescom, weren't they? And they did the Black Ops 2 stream with Hastra and everyone. And then they come to I-Series. No one really expected them to do all that well. End up just coming second. And you know what? And then you know what? Just come second that event, and then they had the team change.
Interesting team change though when you think about it, because a lot of people said, "Oh, there's no need to change Prophecy. They just had a few bad lands, and then they obviously have a good land, and then all of a sudden the change comes." And I don't think it caught you by surprise as much as it probably caught me by surprise, because I know you speak to like the TCM boys a lot, and you speak to the Prophecy guys quite a bit as well.
You know what? That still caught me a little bit by surprise. I mean, Jake is actually a good friend of mine, and we talk almost every day. But it still comes as a little bit of surprise. I thought he was quite set with TCM, but you know what? You cannot you cannot deny that Jake going to Prophecy is an awesome move for that team and for him. Yeah. Just incredible. I mean, Jake is such a good SMG, and he's rated by pretty much everyone, and he's just got that absolute slaying power. So we're going to see him bring that to the game. And you know what? Jake has got to be feeling the pressure of this event, because Sowers obviously did well in Prophecy, and it's probably a difficult decision for them to drop him in the end. But we're going to see what he can do. Jake is going to be feeling this. If he doesn't perform well, people are going to say that Sowers is better for that team, and Jake is not going to like that, because I think Jake is well recognised as the better player than Sowers, but is he going to be better in this team than Sowers is the real question.
Yeah, that is the huge question. It's all about team chemistry. It's not about individuals. But when you watch the way he plays and the way that they sort of gel together in a few scrims and whatnot that I've seen, he has fitted in so very well. There's really nothing that they need to worry about. And this is going to be an event that they're really going to want to take, just so they can have that momentum going into EGL8. They can get all of the momentum, and then they can just absolutely blitz EGL8.
Yeah, well, hopefully so. I mean, if you look at that Prophecy team, obviously you've got Swanee and Gunchy, and that is just a ridiculous AR partnership right there. And that's been together for a little while now. Gunchy, just such a clever player with every game that he plays in. And Swanee, obviously the Swan Bomb, he is famous for his unbelievable slaying power. We saw him do that ridiculous 3 versus 1 clutch to put that flag in at I-Series that everybody still talks about, and TCM was still gutted about for ages afterwards. And obviously they had Sowers and they have Shane. Shane is a pure objective player. That's all he does, is he just runs those flags back and forth, making a beeline for it all the time. Also a very clever player, and he is slotted right in there with Gunchy and Swanee, able to do that AR in for him. So we're going to see what Jake can bring to it. I believe Jake's going to be more of a slaying thing. He's actually going to bring an extra level of slaying to that team, which means Shane's going to be able to run the objective even more.
That's the thing. From everything I've seen in the EU community, Shane does not get enough credit. I'm just going to go ahead and say Shane is always the player that, you know, people sort of leave behind when they think about Prophecy. They don't really think of him as a brilliant player, but you watch some of the stuff he does when he pulls the flag. I don't think SMG objectives get enough credit. I may just say that because that's just what I do when I play, but the way that he runs those flags, he's an intelligent player when he pulls the flag. That's all you can say.
You know what? I've had discussions with Shane about this, and Shane's one of these players. He actually counts the delay. I don't know if many people know this, but Shane counts the delay of that kill marker for the flag. So when he does bamboozle people or go the wrong way or try to throw them out, he will actually be counting that in his head every 7 seconds. He will be making sure that he knows when that kill marker's coming up and where he is. So if he wants to pretend that he's running it, I don't know, say lockdown, if he's running it through corridor, he'll make sure that last kill marker is in corridor before he switches, and then maybe runs it down the bottom or runs it to church. But you know what? It's things like that that really set him apart from a lot of players.
I mean, just finding that out about Shane once again, there you go. That's why he's one of the best SMGs in the game. And to be honest, things. Well, I was actually, excuse me, I was actually asked this the other day. Who would you say is the best SMG objective in the game? Who would you say, Brycey, if you had to pick just one player?
You know what? That is really putting me on the spot, because I'm friends with a lot of SMG objectives.
It's a tough question though. Like, even if you just think about it, I mean, there's so many that you can. It
is very difficult. Shane he's got to be one of them, simply because he is a pure objective player, and that is what he does, and he does it so well for his team. Probably got to say, so just, you know what, you can just look at the top teams and people of slotted into these top teams for that reason. You've got to look at Flux right now. He's always been a really good player for TCM. You know what? I've got to go with them too. Really, they're just both incredible SMGs, and I have had a rumour that Hammers may be playing SMG from now.
Ooh, that's interesting. That would definitely different things up. But I mean, when I was actually asked that question, I immediately went straight for Rambo, because just his intelligence of the game is just second to none. And then also I was thinking about it even more, and I was thinking, well, I want to be fair, I want to give an EU answer as well. And I actually went for Wonder, because I watched him play quite a bit at EGL7, and I've seen him play a few games before that, and he's such a smart player as well. So I went with those two.
He is an amazing player. I watched him play ECL3 with Pasco in that team. And they just dominated some matches. You know what? I really rate Ryder and Wonder as a partnership. I just think they work really well together, and they do team well together. And I hope they stick. I hope they do stick together. And they just need to pick up that AR partnership with the departure, obviously, of Riddles, which we only really found out today. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens to that team.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I'm just reading what you guys are putting in the chat there. I mean, Rambo best brain for COD, but not the best NA player, Proof or Scump, in my opinion. I would agree with that. I would say Scumpy is probably the best all-round player of Modern Warfare 3, if I'm honest. Just watching him get the kills he does and just play the way he does, you can't find any player better than that. But Rambo's intelligence, I think that's kind of what makes Optic what it is. If you took Scumpy out of the team, you'd have to find an amazing player to replace him, don't get me wrong. But if you take Rambo out of that team, I really think that team would struggle a lot, because there's just no replacement to Rambo, in my personal opinion. But in terms of the EU side, I would definitely have to go with Wonder. I just think he's an absolutely amazing SMG, as well as Jake, because obviously, I honestly can't wait to watch Prophecy play later on today. Should be really, really good. And Line Design says, Brycey, check your Skype. So go check your Skype.
I have actually just had it, and you know what? He's brought up someone that I missed. I missed this player in a competitive scene. I never got to know him on a personal level. I never really got to speak to him much. But I used to love watching him, and he had a brilliant attitude. I wonder if you can guess who it is, Benson. I know you're recent to the COD scene, but I can only be talking about one retired SMG that is kind of famous. I'll give you some clues. He used to team with Excellence. He used to be in TCM. He was the Modern Warfare 2 international champion in his team for a little while when that was on, a GameStop, I believe. See, the stream will know who it is. Just see if the stream can guess that. They are guessing it already. They are guessing it.
Are they? I can't even see. My stream chat hasn't.
It can only be one player, and it is, of course, the infamous Doped Goat. And he was another pure SMG player, and he was captain, obviously, of his team. Sort of Team Doped, it was usually done when he wasn't in an org. And he was brilliant. Someone pointed out, he used to get about 4 kills a game, but he used to put about 5 flags. So just one of them, obviously, amazing SMG players, and he was a captain, and he had an awful lot of strategies. Excellence is obviously another one, because he's probably one of the most achieved players, apart from Gunchy now, I believe, on Call of Duty completely. And then but he hasn't had great fortune recently. We're going to see him later on in Apex and see how he does here. I know he wants to get back into that top flight, back into them top 3 placements again, and we'll see how he does.